Alright, stop what you are doing right now, because on July 2026, NHL Free Agency Day, the New York Rangers didn't just make a move, they detonated a bomb that is still sending shockwaves through the entire hockey world, and I genuinely don't think people are talking about this enough. Months of trade speculation finally came to a head when the Rangers dealt Vincent Trocheck to the Utah Mammoth for defenseman Sean Durzi, center prospect Cole Beaudoin, and a 2027 third-round pick. And the moment I saw that return, my jaw hit the floor. Because what the Rangers got back? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why this might be the most underrated trade of the entire summer, and why both sides are either geniuses or making a massive mistake. Forever Blue Shirts. Let's start from the very beginning, because you need the full story to truly appreciate how wild this all is. For months, Vincent Trocheck had been involved in trade rumors. Negotiations were held as far back as the trade deadline in March, with Trocheck even being scratched for a game in anticipation of a deal being done. Think about that for a second. The man was scratched, literally not allowed to play, because the Rangers front office was so sure a trade was coming. They were sitting there, bags packed, waiting for the phone to ring. And then, nothing. The deadline came and went. Silence. The Rangers held on to him, presumably hoping that a better offer would materialize over the summer. The Rangers had been working on a trade with Trocheck dating back to last season and even scratched the veteran at the 2026 trade deadline for roster management purposes. That is not a rumor. That is the organization telling you everything you need to know about where they were headed. Sports Illustrated ESPN. Now here is the part that gets really interesting. Trocheck changed his representation this summer to Pat Brisson, hoping to facilitate a trade. That is a massive signal. When a player switches agents in the middle of an off-season saga, specifically to get a deal done, it tells you the situation behind the scenes was uncomfortable. He wanted out. Trocheck had some trade protection and initially preferred to stay on the East Coast for family reasons, but was ultimately convinced of a move to Utah. That is no small thing. This man had leverage. He could have dug his heels in, stayed in New York, and collected his paycheck. Instead, he opened the door. He wanted to be somewhere that was building something real. ESPN. And that brings us to Utah. Let's talk about the Mammoth for a second, because people still sleep on this franchise. Utah advanced to the playoffs in its second year since the franchise relocated from Arizona, capturing one of the two Western Conference wildcard spots. The Mammoth initially held a 2-1 series lead only to lose a pair of overtime games before falling to the Golden Knights in 6 games. That is a team that is not just surviving, it is competing, it is threatening, and it got close, agonizingly close, before the lights went out. So what do you do when you are a franchise on the rise and you just fell short? You go get a guy like Vincent Trocheck. ESPN. For quite some time, the Mammoth have wanted a top center. Ever since Trocheck's name began popping up in trade rumors, the team eyed him. Utah GM Bill Armstrong was patient. He was methodical. He waited and waited, and when the window cracked open on free agency day, he walked right through it. Armstrong said, "We just had so many positive things that we learned when we were going back and doing the research about bringing somebody that wants to win. He wants to take that next step." And Armstrong wasn't done there. He also confirmed something incredible about the Trocheck-Utah connection. Trocheck had been training in the summer with Utah forward Logan Cooley, and Cooley was so excited about Trocheck joining the team that Armstrong described him as a role model who had helped Cooley develop as a player. That chemistry already exists. That's not a locker room addition. That's a locker room cornerstone who was already embedded in the culture before he even signed a thing. The hockey writers +2. Now let's talk about what Trocheck actually brings to this team, because the production numbers alone don't tell the full story. In 67 games last season, he produced 53 points, and this was while battling a lung infection earlier in the year. A lung infection. The man was medically compromised and still put up over 50 points. His reputation as one of the league's top shutdown centers and penalty killers was reinforced by his playing a key role in Team USA's gold medal at the 2026 Olympics. Gold medal. Olympic gold. While Rangers fans were watching their team crater in the standings, Trocheck was literally on the biggest stage in international hockey, proving he belongs among the elite. That context matters enormously. The hockey writers ESPN, between his playmaking ability and elite face-off skills, there's reason to believe that Trocheck can still play an important role on a playoff contender. Utah needed an upgrade down the middle, and he checks a lot of boxes that earn favor with most NHL coaches, displaying a willingness to go to the dirty areas of the ice and play a hard-nosed game. And with Logan Cooley and Trocheck likely slotting in as their top two centers, with Jack McBain, Barrett Hayton, and Kevin Stenlund as depth options, Utah now has one of the most complete and balanced centers-by-committee groups in the entire Western Conference. That is not an exaggeration. Forever Blue Shirts, the hockey writers. But now, we get to the part that made my jaw drop. What did the Rangers actually get back? Because when that first alert came across my phone, I genuinely thought it was a misprint. In return, the Rangers received right-handed defenseman Sean Durzi and center Cole Beaudoin, along with a third-round pick in the 2027 NHL Draft. Sports Illustrated, let's do Durzi first, because the immediate impact is real, and it's happening right now. This past season with the Mammoth, Durzi recorded 5 goals, 22 assists, and 27 points in 60 games, while averaging 16 minutes of ice time. That is a top-4 defenseman's workload. The 27-year-old defenseman is a solid puck mover and can be effective on the power play. The Rangers were absolutely desperate for exactly this type of player. Barring an injury to Adam Fox, Durzi won't crack the top power play unit in New York, but he should be in line for a sizable top 4 role with potential for time on the second power play unit. And get this, he has 114 career assists, handing out at least 22 in 4 out of his 5 NHL seasons. Consistency, reliability, that is what the Rangers' blue line has been screaming for. His contract carries a $6 million cap hit until 2028, which means they are not just getting a good player, they are getting a good player locked in for the foreseeable future. Yahoo! +4, but Cole Beaudoin? Cole Beaudoin might be the real prize of this entire deal, and I cannot stress this enough. The 20-year-old was selected by Utah with the 24th overall pick in the 2024 NHL Draft. He was a first-rounder. And what did he do in the OHL this past season? As captain of the Barrie Colts, Beaudoin recorded 33 goals, 55 assists, and 88 points in 54 games. That is not a typo. 88 points in 54 games. As a 20-year-old, captaining his team, and it did not stop in the regular season. He led the entire OHL playoffs with 19 assists and 29 points in just 15 postseason games, scoring 10 goals. The man turned into an absolute monster when the lights got brightest. That is exactly the kind of player Rangers fans have been begging for in the pipeline for years. Sports Illustrated +2. And there is something even more telling buried in the scouting reports. According to the 2024 Elite Prospects Draft Guide, Beaudoin eats up the boards, grinds them, spins off opponents, drags the puck out of traffic, and gets it to the middle of the ice. There's not a battle that he can't win, even when at a numbers disadvantage. That is a center built for playoff hockey. That is a center built for Madison Square Garden in April and May. With an impressive 6'2", 212-pound frame and plenty of runway to develop, Beaudoin immediately becomes the top center prospect in the Rangers system. The top prospect in the entire organization, arriving in a trade that most casual fans thought was just a salary dump. You cannot write this stuff. Last word on sports forever blue shirts. Now, let's be fair and acknowledge the other side of the argument, because this is not a perfect trade for everyone involved. Trocheck will be 33 next season, and is already showing some signs of potential regression. The Mammoth might not be able to maximize his talents like other teams could have. And parting with 2 younger players, including a key blue liner in Durzi, could bite them in the long run. That is a legitimate concern. You are giving up your top center prospect and a proven NHL defenseman for a guy who will be 33 in the first year of this deal. There is real risk there. Forever blue shirts. But here is the counterpoint. And this is why I think Utah knew exactly what they were doing. Drury traded Artemi Panarin to the Los Angeles Kings shortly after completing the Trocheck deal. The Rangers were gutting and rebuilding simultaneously on the same day. They needed the youth, the picks, the future, and Utah needed the veteran presence, the winning pedigree, the Olympic gold medalist in the locker room who has already been training with their young franchise center all summer long. Both teams got exactly what they needed in this moment. ESPN, Trocheck has 631 career points in 868 regular season games and 37 points in 56 playoff games across stints with Florida, Carolina, and New York. He has been in the fire. He has won. And now he walks into a Utah locker room that has been so close to making a real run, and he becomes the missing piece that says, "We are not here to participate, we are here to win." NHL. The bottom line is this. The Rangers turned a 32-year-old center in the final chapter of his prime into a puck-moving top-four defenseman, locked up through 2028, the #1 center prospect in their system, who just torched the OHL for 88 points and a future draft pick. Meanwhile, Utah gets the veteran glue guy who can anchor a penalty kill, win face-offs in crucial moments, and bring an Olympic gold medal mentality into a franchise that is one piece away from being genuinely dangerous in the Western Conference. Everybody in this trade walked away feeling like they